Hey there, guys, and welcome back to the Travis and Damian Podcast, episode 26. We are available on anchor.fm/Travis Damian Podcast, along with iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and many more. Today, we're going to talk about the general news, including the PlayStation State of Play, along with some Twitch signings, and then we're going to talk about our recent activities, then everything about the Game Awards from the winners to the announcements, etc. So, first thing we're going to talk about is the PlayStation State of Play that happened on December 10th, which was 9 days ago. I actually caught the later half of the show because I was at work, and then I caught it when I went on break.
Right.
And there wasn't really much, again, like most State of Plays.
Yeah.
The only notable thing was the Kingdom Hearts DLC, along with Resident Evil 3 getting officially announced because that was leaked earlier that week. But outside of that, there were like some indie titles and things like that. But, it is what it is. State of Play is kind of just like there sort of thing.
Yeah, but there was also the new Platinum game, the Babylon Fall.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But besides that, there really wasn't much, like, at all. And it's just like with these State of Plays, like, I feel like they always have like nothing, or like we already know that a thing is coming out already. Like, a lot of people already knew the Resident Evil 3 remake was going to happen already. So when this got revealed, it was like no one was really... Like, people were excited, but it wasn't like a big surprise. And I brought this up in the last State of Play, but like I feel like Sony doesn't really have like good surprises because we already know what's going to happen. So, it's not like a direct where it's like, oh, here's like Breath of the Wild 2. And it's like, whoa, dude. Or here's like some Smash character. And you're like, whoa. Sony doesn't really have that with these. They kind of just like, here's some games. And then there you go. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I feel like the State of Plays, Sony's not really using them the way most people think that they should be using them. I feel like that they should maybe take more notes from Nintendo and that sort of thing. But obviously, Nintendo has had a lot of like bad directs as well.
Yeah.
But every single State of Play has been kind of bad in my opinion.
Yeah.
Not one has really stood out to me or been really memorable. But it is what it is because I'm sure a lot of the announcements that they wanted to do for the State of Play were shown during the Game Awards. So,
yeah, like I'm sure once the PS5 actually comes out and people start making like games again, like I'm sure like the State of Plays will be better. Since we've only been getting them in this weird downtime where it's like the end of the generation and like no big studios like making anything for the PS4 right now besides like Sucker Punch and like Naughty Dog. Like those are like the last few games for the PS4. So I'm guessing maybe next year or the year after is when we'll start getting some good ones if they continue doing this. But I don't know. I guess we're gonna have to see about that because right now, State of Play is kind of a waste of time. So
yeah, because I believe there was like a little news article that was out that was like every single PlayStation 5 game is going to be exclusive to the PS5. Like they won't have like a PS5 release along with the PS4 release or something like that. Which I was like, that's a little interesting, but hopefully that'll be okay for sales.
Yeah. All right, so next we got the Wonder Woman 1984 trailer. So, obviously this is in the 80s because we gotta keep milking the 80s like love over here.
True.
And yeah, I mean, I think it looks good. I was a pretty big fan of the first Wonder Woman. I feel like it kind of lost itself at the end. I won't spoil it, but I feel like it had something there, and then it kind of got a little stupid at the last fight. But I thought it was pretty enjoyable. It was an enjoyable DC movie, and I mean DC has been doing pretty well now. I mean Shazam was good, Joker was good. I like Wonder Woman 1, and from this trailer, it looks like it's gonna be kind of the same. It looks like it might not be like to me like the 80s aesthetic. Like it's fine, but I kind of like the World War I style that the first one had. That one seemed more interesting to me, but I don't know. I feel like they could do some cool things with the 80s, but I don't know. It feels kind of like tired out at this point. But yeah, it still looks like enjoyable. And if it's good, I'll watch it. But, I'm not the biggest DC fan. So if it's just okay, I'll probably see it at some other point in time. But, but from what I've seen, it looks fine.
Yeah. The 80s aesthetic, like you said, has definitely been milked a lot recently, which I'm okay with still. But I could see why a lot of people are getting tired of it because it's been done in so many other things, like Stranger Things, etc., etc. But Wonder Woman 1984, it looks good. I'm relatively excited for it just because she's the one character within the Justice League that actually got a good solo movie.
Yeah.
So hopefully that this is pretty good. I kind of forgot that Chris Pines was in the movie again, but Hopefully they explain that decently well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited for it.
Yeah. Again, like I feel like Wonder Woman was like sort of the only good DC movie for a while until Shazam and Joker came out. So if they could keep that sort of same quality, then I guess I'll be okay with it because I thought the first one was pretty good. So
yeah, as long as they don't like focus on the whole like cinematic universe thing, because I think they've been trying to step away from that, which is good, and just focus on just making good movies.
Yeah, good, because that cinematic universe ain't working, all right? So just saying.
All right, so now we got Bayonetta and Vanquish. They are coming to the PS4 in a 10th anniversary bundle on February 18th, 2020. So I think it's a good idea to bundle these together because I feel like most people would just buy Bayonetta and just call it a day. But yeah, it's nice that they are coming to the PS4. And it's only going to be $40, I believe. So, and then it'll come with a theme and stuff like that. And I think it's going to be in a steelbook. So, and one thing that I saw on Twitter is that I can't believe people are still this dumb. I'm not sure if this is like kids tweeting or whatever, but like, guys, they can't do anything with Bayonetta 2 because that's going to stay on Nintendo consoles because Nintendo published that, guys.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's nice seeing that Bayonetta 1 is still getting love and that it's coming to the PS4. I might pick it up depending if I have the extra income. But yeah, very, very cool that they're re-releasing it.
Yeah, I think it does look really nice. I really like the disc and like the steel book and stuff like that. And I think Bayonetta 1 is pretty good. Obviously 2 is like way better. But yeah, Bayonetta 1 is like very good, and I'm glad it's getting like remastered on the PS4. And Vanquish I still need to play. I know that's like one of the weirder ones where it's like it's basically like a platinum game, but you have like a gun, so it's like it's really weird. So yeah, no, it's cool that they're both releasing like together in like a double pack here. So yeah, I might pick it up too. I'll see. I mean, again, like Bayonetta 1 was, it's good, but I don't think it's as good as 2. But I wouldn't mind playing it again.
Yep.
All right, so now we got more of the streaming wars here. So now Twitch has signed for Dr. Lupo, Tim the Tatman, and Lyric to like have exclusivity for Twitch, right? So like they can't like go anywhere else. So yeah, like obviously this has been an ongoing story for the past like few months with Mixer and Facebook Gaming now. So yeah, now it looks like Twitch like really doesn't want to lose like their bigger people, and like these are, I mean, like Tim the Tatman's pretty big and Lyric also, so like they definitely like don't want to get them like snatched away from Mixer or whatever. So it really seems like Twitch is really like buckling down here. It's like, all right, fine, we'll start buying streamers off too. So yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Tim and Dr. Lupo I'm familiar with, more of Tim. I don't watch much of Lyric, but it is definitely very interesting that Twitch finally realized that, wait, we're fucking losing people. Maybe we should, lock these people down. So they did. And it is going to be very interesting to see who else stays and who else abandons ship, because Twitch, it's not the most solid streaming platform, but then again, it's the most popular. So you kind of have to stay there if you want to keep your numbers up. Because, people like Ninja, Shroud, and even like Toast, like their viewership plummeted like exponentially, especially Toast. Like I think last time I heard was that like he had like less than 1K on Facebook Gaming.
Yeah.
So like obviously that sucks, but like he's getting paid to stream exclusively on there, but also he's streaming to people that actually want to watch him like really, really bad. Yeah. So that's like his dedicated fan base. So numbers aren't everything, and it's not the numbers on his stream, it's the numbers in his bank account. So
yeah, I was gonna say, like, they wouldn't do this if they didn't think, like, they knew their numbers were gonna drop super hard, but the money that Facebook or Mixer or whatever company they got bought off by, they're probably like weighed that decision and was like, okay, well, I'm still gonna make more money if I moved here by signing this deal, so it doesn't really matter. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's not just some blind thing. But yeah.
All right, so let's get into our recent activities.
Yeah. Okay,
so you go first.
I will go first. So I have been playing a lot of different things actually. I've been playing Luigi's Mansion 3. It's very good. It really does, like, all right, so for Dark Moon, right? I wasn't a big fan of Luigi Mansions 2. Dark Moon. I think it's mostly just because of the controls. They just didn't feel that comfortable for me, honestly. I feel like that was a trend with a lot of like like I love the 3DS, but I feel like some games didn't really like have the right to be there. Like Kid Icarus, like I love Kid Icarus Uprising, but like playing that game just hurts. Like, and I love it. Like it's like I hate that. I want to like it more. It's just that the controls just hurt my hands, and I felt like Luigi's Mansion also Dark Moon just felt awkward. And I didn't really mind the multiple mansions, but I kind of like preferred the one mansion from Luigi's Mansion 1 just because it felt more connected. Luigi Mansion 3 kind of like has a nice in-between where first the controls, feels exactly how it did in 1, plus you have a bunch of other stuff. You have the a lot of mechanics from 2, like the flashlight, you could like flash it and like stun the ghosts. So it's not as awkward like it was in Luigi's Mansion 1 where you like turn off the light and then flash it on them. No, it works like how it did in 2. And you also have some abilities from 2, like the dark light thing where you could like you could materialize like objects in the world and stuff like that. But they also improved some things in this game. Like you have like this ghost slam thing. So when you're catching a ghost, when you're like sucking them and things like that, if you press A after after this bar fills up, you can press A, you could like slam the ghosts on the floor, and it makes combat like really quick and easy. I know some people saying this game is pretty easy when it comes to like the combat and things like that, and that's true. But I feel like it is more snappy and like it feels quick to like kill ghosts, and it's fun. Like I love slamming the ghosts on the ground and stuff like that. In terms of the level design itself, yeah, it's one mansion, or I guess hotel in this game. It's one hotel, so that's cool. So that's like Luigi's Mansion 1 where it's like one thing, but it kind of also fits in with the Dark Moon thing where each floor, like after a certain point, each floor kind of feels like its own thing. So like I did one where it was like, oh, this is like a grand ballroom or something, or this one's just like a medieval castle type thing. So it kind of fits in with both Dark Moon and Luigi Mansion's one like design philosophy there. So that's pretty cool to see, and I think it works for the best because you get a nice variety of different locations, but still feels like you're in like the same location, if that makes any sense. But yeah, also like graphically, I think the game looks fantastic. Like the animations on Luigi are so good. Like when he gets scared and stuff, it looks fantastic. Like I love it. The visual humor is really good as well. It just has a lot of personality, and I love it. The only main problems I had with the game are just like little things. Like the game has a really weird physics engine. Like everything like moves around and stuff. But that can lead to some weird glitches where things just get stuck in each other and like it just looks funny. It looks like it's from Gmod or something. It's really weird. But that's not really a big deal. Most of the time I just laugh about it. And yeah, the game is a bit easy. Like the puzzles are pretty easy compared to Luigi's Mansion 1. And again, the combat, it's a lot faster and I think it's more fun than the other two. But again, it does feel a lot easier just because you have like that ghost slam thing. So, but besides that, I think the game is fantastic. Like, I think it's probably right now, I'm not even done with it, but I feel like it is my favorite Luigi's Mansion game so far. They did a really good job with this. Next, I played Psychonauts that you got me. I didn't know they had like a limited. Yeah, I didn't know they had a limited run version of this, which is really cool.
Yeah, actually, fun fact: when I was visiting you in Florida, I actually just bought it when we were at the hotel or whatever.
Oh, really?
Like, I'm gonna buy myself a copy and I'm gonna buy him a copy.
Okay.
Not tell him.
So I love it. All right. So let me just talk about Psychonauts in general. Psychonauts is great. I love it. It's a great platformer. It has a lot of great writing. Just a lot of personality. Great level design and powers. It's great. And I think I talked about Psychonauts before when I played the game like twice already. It is like my third time playing it. I want to plat it now. The only issue with the PS4 version, I don't know if you actually played it or not, but this is all right. So this is a direct emulation of the PS2 version of Psychonauts, right? So that's not a big deal, if like games do that, like a straight port. Problem is the PS2 version of Psychonauts isn't great. I didn't know this either. So like when I first played Psychonauts, I played it on Xbox, right? Like I played the OG Xbox version and then played the Steam version. So those run fine. Apparently, it wasn't meant to be a PS2 game, but they kind of forced it to be. And you can kind of tell, like, the game, like, graphically looks like a lot, is, like, downgraded. The lighting is very weird. And the frame rate isn't bad when you're in a level. But when you're in, like, the main, like, hub world, it, like, goes, like, below 20. It's, like, I'm like, oh, boy. But it's still, like, it's still playable in, like, the levels, which really matters. So you don't really do anything in the hub world. Like, it's a great hub world and stuff, and a lot of things to do. But, it doesn't really matter that much. And the limited run case is really cool. Like I don't know where my OG like Psychonauts case went. I don't even know where that is anymore. But the case itself is cool. I really like they have they don't have an instruction manual, but it's like a little thing to look like one. But yeah, but it's cool, and I could get plat in it, so that's good because I like game plats. But I would suggest if you are gonna get Psychonauts, I would probably suggest the Steam version. One is probably cheaper because when it's on sale is usually like $1, so like I would probably suggest that. Or like the Xbox One version, because the PS2 version isn't great, and it sucks because I don't know why they didn't just pull the Steam version for the other two remasters, but whatever. It's still a great game though, and I love it. So, and I will gladly play it again because it's great. So next, Shovel Knight King of Cards finally came out. So this was supposed to come out like a year ago, but they kept delaying it. And I could see where the delays came from because they added a lot of content in this. The other like 3 Shovel Knight campaigns were like maybe 4 hours or something, maybe 5 max. This one took me like 10 hours. Like it was like so much content in there. Like it's insane. The amount of levels like doubles like what it was in Shovel Knight like 1. Plague of Shadows and Spectre Knight. Like it's just so much stuff, and my dog is scratching the door. But yeah, like there's just so much content that is crazy. Like, the amount of different levels and gimmick, like almost every single level has its like own like gimmick and stuff. Like I like it's crazy like how much like just mechanics it could fit into like this game. Like you could tell they were like really pushing like this engine Rari, and I'm kind of glad Yacht Club is gonna make something different now because I could see them like wanting to try something different now because I feel like there's nothing left. Like there's nothing left to do with this like game anymore. Also, another weird thing with this game that some people might like or hate is the card game. There's like this card game called Joustus. I think it's fun. It works a lot like Final Fantasy VIII's Triple Triad, where you kind of just push cards in like a grid and stuff like that. And it's not too hard once you like start playing it because you can have cheats and stuff. But what was I gonna say? It can get very difficult if you don't have like good cards or anything like that. But I think. I'm like losing my train of thought because my dog would not stop scratching the door.
Sorry, man. Sorry.
All right, but what you call it? But yeah, no, it's really fun. I think the game is worth it. You get it for free if you already bought Shovel Knight. But yeah, no, it's a lot of fun. And then actually, I forgot to write this here, but I also watched Steven Universe Feature because that came out as well. Hold on. There you go. All right, sorry. But yeah, I watched TV Universe Feature, and it's really good. Again, it takes right after the movie, so if you didn't watch the movie, you should probably watch that. But yeah, I think it does a good job following up with Steven Universe and stuff like that. Again, it takes me right after the movie, and it does a good job like following like Steven's like sort of. He's going through different like stuff than the original one did, where he just wants to be friends with everyone. But now like it's like, oh, that doesn't work all the time. And I kind of want them to do this plot point forever. So I'm glad they're finally like covering it because it's like it was sort of an issue I was having with the finale and even in the movie. I thought the movie was good, but like I felt they really needed to like change that. Yeah, it's really good so far. I think it was only 4 episodes, but I didn't watch the last 2, but yeah, no, it was really good. Actually, you want to talk about your stuff real quick? I didn't get my dog out of here for a second.
You can let him in. It's whatever.
Yeah, hold on. 1 second. You can talk for a second. I'll be back.
It's all good. All right. I'll keep the guys entertained. So, as you guys know, I always play League of Legends and TFT, so I'll talk about that briefly. So I played a little bit of League. Not that much, but it's still the same preseason patch. They just dropped a patch for it's like side B of the patch. It's not a lot. They like buffed Alistar and some things like that. I haven't played on it yet, but the main thing I've been playing has been TFT, and TFT is actually kind of fun. I'm kind of enjoying TFT now, mainly because I'm still trying to like rest my wrist injury, so I'm just playing TFT to like let things simmer out sort of thing. And yeah, TFT's kind of fun. I wish I played more of it during the first set because I feel like the first set was a lot more fun and it had more champions that I personally liked. But set 2 for TFT is still okay. But yeah, I'm still playing League of Legends and TFT and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about your last thing?
Yeah, we can talk about my last thing. That's right. All right,
it's all good.
I have read the Life is Strange comics. I read the, what do you call it? Dust, I think it was the first volume.
It's the, so initially they wanted this to just be Dust, the first 4 issues.
Yeah.
And then they saw that a lot of people liked it and it did kind of well, so they made it a ongoing comic. So every single arc is 4 issues, so you just read the first arc, which pretty much takes the ending from Life is Strange 1, where it was like you sacrificed Arcadia Bay to save Chloe, and it shows what that would have been like afterwards.
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
So I thought it was a fantastic. Like, I feel like if you ever, it doesn't really matter which ending you really do at the end of Life is Strange 1. Spoilers for Life is Strange 1, by the way. But which it doesn't.
So old, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it came out 2015 or something, or 16, like when it ended. But whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter what ending you choose to do because it kind of fits in with both, which I like. So, it doesn't really matter if you sacrifice Arcadia Bay or save Chloe. Like, this ending kind of like touches on kind of both, since it has like this weird like timeline thing, which is cool. But I think it does a great job giving closure to both of the characters. And it just feels like a good conclusion, because I know a lot of people like at the end of those endings didn't really... Mostly the Chloe ending, like, I felt like they just like Arcadia Bay is destroyed and kind of just drive out of there. And I'm glad like this ending, which follows that ending, it kind of shows how it really messed with them, like, because it's not an easy thing to go through, where it's like, yeah, the whole Arcadia Bay got destroyed, and it's probably because of Max, and then like Max is going through crap, and then same thing with Chloe and stuff like that. So I think they did a good job of handling that situation. And yeah, when they go back to Arcadia Bay, and then they're just like, looking at everything, and then they're having this like, I guess, flickers, they were calling it, where she was like sort of jumping to like different like realities and things like that, where, because I think that Max wasn't supposed to belong in this timeline where Chloe was saved and stuff like that. So she was sort of like going through like these different realities and stuff where, certain things didn't happen, like one where Warren like survives the diner exploding and stuff like that, or Rachel was alive and things like that. So yeah, it gave a really cool, like, it still dealt with the time stuff, but also dealt with like just like ending the closure with Max and Chloe, where they were talking at the end, and then they kissed and things like that, and it was very cute and things like that. So but yeah, I thought it was really good closure for just mostly for the ending for the Chloe ending, because again, I feel like that ending didn't really have enough to go on it. That's why I like the saving Arcadia Bay, and they kind of touch on that too, where it's like, oh, Chloe's like, oh, maybe you made the wrong choice and things like that. So yeah, I thought it really helped that ending in particular, but I felt like either ending you did, I feel like this just strengthens the story more.
Yeah, definitely. And like the later arcs, I've read every single issue up until now.
Yeah.
Except for the one that recently just came out. But the stories just get pretty good, because it's just Max and Chloe, and now Rachel's in the mix.
Yeah,
so
and that's a cool. That's a cool dynamic, because you don't see that in the main game. You never see Max and Rachel interact ever, because she's dead. Because then before the storm, you see the relationship between Chloe and Rachel, but you don't really see it between Max and her. So again, and I feel like that was a major issue with Life is Strange 1. I really liked, the first game, but I feel like Rachel was kind of a really underused element. So I'm glad they're really like upping her character with both Before the Storm and now the comics, whereas like, you really get to feel that she was important to Chloe and all that stuff. And now you get to see more of her character in this comic, or I guess in the upcoming issues I haven't read yet, and the Before the Storm. So yeah. I just thought it was really good. I also really like the artwork and stuff like that's really good. So
yeah, definitely really good team behind this comic.
Yeah, and again, I think it's better than Life is Strange too. But that's just how it is.
It's just because Max and Chloe are more memorable characters.
Yeah, they are. I just like them more. Like, I think Chloe could be a little diverse, like kind of controversial. Yeah, I didn't like her too much at first, honestly, but I felt like she really grows on you, because she grows as a character and stuff like that. So, but yeah, this comic, it was very good. I think, again, if you are a fan of Life is Strange 1 and want more closure at the end, then read this. It's very good.
Yeah, they sell it in a graphic novel format. So
Yeah.
if you just go on Amazon, type in Life is Strange Volume 1, yeah, then it's the first result. It's called Volume 1 Dust. So
Yeah.
if you want to pick it up. All right, so let's go back to me. I got a lot of shit on my table, so I'm just going to try to go through these kind of quickly. Played a little bit more of DMC5. Not a whole lot, but I did play more of it. It's still, a really fun hack and slasher. But the game I just recently started up that I did not expect me to start up was Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just because I've been on this, Star Wars hype train because, Rise of Skywalker comes out tonight, technically, which I'm going to go see it. But Jedi Fallen Order, I bought it because it was $40 on Best Buy on Sunday or something like that. So I was like, I'm going to buy it. And then, after work, I picked it up. And then the following day, I popped it in and played it. But the game is pretty good. Like, there are some performance issues. Like, there's, like, a lot of frame drops and stuff like that. Maybe it's just because I'm playing on the regular PS4.
Yeah, my brother actually has it on the PS4 Pro. And he said while it still has frame drops, it isn't as bad. Like, the base models of the Xbox and PS4 do have some pretty big performance issues. So, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I'm just like, wow, that's a lot of frame dips, but I can get through it. It's fine. Because the story that they're setting up is pretty interesting. The gameplay itself is also pretty fun as well. Like, I've never played a Souls-like game personally, so playing a game like this where I can't just hack and slash my way through the enemies and I actually have to, like, parry and dodge and do all of this other stuff is pretty fun and a lot more engaging, and I can see why people like these kinds of games. But so far, I'm, like, 3 hours in, and I'm enjoying myself so far. Then I watched a couple of movies. Marriage Story, it's the one on Netflix with Scarlett Johansson and Adam Driver. That movie is really good, and it is sort of like more of a Oscar sort of movie. And since it is on Netflix, a lot more normie people are going to watch it because they either like ScarJo or Adam Driver, and there's a lot of controversy and talk about this movie, this and that. But, it's just a really solid movie. Like, when you, like, think about it and, just watch the movie. It's, like, really, really good. That's all I could really say.
Okay.
Daniel Isn't Real. This is a indie flick, and I didn't know much about it going in other than it's a psychological sort of, like, horror movie sort of thing. Well, not, like, horror, but, like, it's a psychological thriller is what I could best describe it as. And it's pretty good. Did not expect it to be as good as it is. I did read some reviews that didn't like it as much, probably because they're much more of a movie critic than I am. But personally, I really liked it. Daniel Isn't Real. I didn't really hear much about it until our friend Louis showed it to us, and I was like, all right, I'll watch it. It looks interesting. So then I watched Frozen 2, obviously, because why the hell not? I feel like this movie shouldn't really exist because it really doesn't do anything, honestly. Like, just watching the entire movie. All right, so first, there was a Twitter meme about Olaf being, like, 5'4" or, like, 6 foot. So, like, the moment I saw Olaf, that's all I could think about. I was like, holy shit, this guy's, like, 6 foot. So, like, how tall are fucking Elsa and Anna? But anyways, the movie itself, I feel like it doesn't really do much, like, honestly. Like, it just exists to sell toys and do all of this other stuff, bring back the Frozen hype train. The songs in it are actually, like, pretty good. I'm not going to lie. Like, when I was watching the movie and, these songs started up, I was like, you know what? Some of these are all right. The ones with Olaf, I'm not a big fan of. But you know what? The rest of them are not that bad. Obviously, Let It Go and, How to Build a Snowman are just classics when it comes to the Frozen, franchise now. But Frozen 2 did have some pretty good songs as well. And then getting into some Star Wars stuff, The Mandalorian. I haven't watched episode 7 that just dropped, but I've watched every single other episode, and it's still really, really good. If you haven't watched it yet, just, I guess, wait for your Disney Plus subscription, or if you already have one, what are you doing? Just watch it. Even if you're not into Star Wars, like, just watch the first episode, and you'll probably get a kick out of it, especially if you're into, like, the other, action sort of shows. Or whatever.
It's like a Western. It's very good. Episode 7 was so good. Yeah, watch it. It's really good.
And then I decided to watch The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi because I am seeing The Rise of Skywalker later tonight. And I saw those, I believe, 2 days ago or something like that. But anyways, The Force Awakens, I still really, really like. Despite it being, pretty safe and all of this other stuff, it's still, like, a pretty fun and enjoyable film. The Last Jedi, I have not seen it since it came out, which was like 2 years ago.
Right.
So this one was definitely a very interesting experience for me to, jump back into it and see exactly how my opinion has changed. And it hasn't really changed all that much. Probably a little bit more on the negative side, because I forgot the one part of the movie that's just really, really bad. And it is still kind of bad. At first when I watched it, I was like, it wasn't that bad. But now that I rewatched it, I was like, yeah, this part is kind of bad and kind of halts the movie a little bit. But there's a lot of flaws with The Last Jedi, and this is a flaw within this Star Wars trilogy, is that they didn't really have like a good roadmap as to where they wanted to go. They kind of just let the directors did what they want. So like J.J. Abrams set the first movie up, and then they had Rian Johnson step in for The Last Jedi, and he kind of did what he wanted. And now J.J. Abrams is back in the third movie trying to finish it all off.
Right.
And supposedly it didn't work out all that well.
No, it didn't.
But it is what it is. This is just what happens when you don't, plan things ahead and stuff like that. So if they decide to do another trilogy, which they might, they're probably going to plan things a lot more in advance, because it felt like, they were just, writing scripts and whatever, the directors wanted to do for said movie, instead of like, this is a trilogy and this is all going to connect with each other. But still, I really like both The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. Then lastly, My Hero Academia. Are you all caught up, Damien? I'm not going to spoil anything, but...
Yeah, I'm all caught up.
Okay, but the show's really good now.
Yes, it is. It is very good.
Yeah. They did all of those like build-up episodes, and I was like, damn, this is taking a while. But then once it finally gets into it, I was like, holy shit, let's go.
Yeah. Go on.
And like, the past like 2-3 episodes have been like really, really solid, and I've just been super excited to just watch My Hero again.
Yeah, I hear a lot of people say this season is very good, or at least in the manga. I heard this arc is very good, but it was very slow. Like, it did start very slow. There's a lot of setup they had to do, and I usually most of the My Hero arcs so far didn't really have a lot of setup. Maybe it had like an episode or two of it, but it was mostly just like hype all the time. Mm-hmm. Especially the last arc, where it was like, when the last season started, it was just like 2 episodes and like a giant major fight, and it was amazing. This one took quite a while to really get to that point, but I felt like it was still enjoyable, and now it's really paying off with the last 2 episodes being like extremely good. And even then, like, some of the previous episodes are great as well, just like in a slower way. But yeah, I think now the season is really getting like its stride, and like now it's like, not just nonstop action every episode, and it's fantastic. Like, I love it. It's great. So
yeah, definitely. All right, so let's get into the Game Awards. We're slightly late on this, but whatever. So first, we're going to talk about the winners, and then the big announcements that were shown off during the event that I think we're both interested in, that I put in this document.
Yeah.
So first, I'm just going to quickly list off all of the winners that interested us in particular. So Game of the Year and Best Action Game went to Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. Best Game Direction and Music/Score was Death Stranding. Best Indie Game and Best RPG and Best Narrative went to Disco Elysium. Best Art Direction went to Control. Best Audio Design went to Modern Warfare. Best Ongoing Game went to Fortnite. Best Action Game, DMC5. Best Fighting Game, Smash Ultimate. Best Family Game, which was the Nintendo category.
Yeah.
Luigi's Mansion 3. Best Sport/Racing Game went to Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled. Best Multiplayer Game went to Apex. Best Esports Player went to Buga. Best Esports Game and Event went to League of Legends. And Best Esports Host went to Shocks. So, first let's talk about Game of the Year, because I did not expect Sekiro to win, honestly, because it came out really early, like earlier this year, like in March or something like that. And for it to actually, still be like, considered for Game of the Year and actually to win it all was very, very interesting. Yeah,
it caught me off guard too. Like, I don't know, I expected Death Stranding to win just because I'm not throwing shade at Death Stranding, but it definitely does feel like Oscar bait, like the game. Like, I really felt like it was gonna win. Either that or Smash, honestly. I feel like Smash probably had a good shot at it. But no, Sekiro won, and that really caught me off guard. Like, I know it was a good game, but after it came out, I didn't hear much about it. Like, I know it was really good, but I don't know, it just caught me off guard. Even Resident Evil 2, if that won, it probably would have been I would have not, I would have been okay. But I'm okay with this winning. It's not like I'm mad at it or anything, but I just didn't expect it is all. It was like kind of the least thing I was expecting, to be honest.
Yeah, I forget exactly who else was in the Game of the Year category, but Sekiro was not on my radar in terms of winning it.
Yeah. So
and then I mean, Death Stranding only winning 2 awards is a bit surprising as well, because I know that Kojima and what's his name are really close friends. The person that like hosts the Game Awards.
Oh, Jeff Keighley.
Yeah, but that would have been too biased if Death Stranding just went home with everything.
Yeah, that's true. Like I'm actually surprised it won less than it did. Like maybe it would have been too on the nose. Like been like, Kojima's like, hey, throw me in some more awards. I don't know how this works, but I guess what it won is fine. Get best game direction and best music and score. I mean, best music. I don't really know about the music and score about Death Stranding, but I also forgot what was in that category, so I can't really say anything. But yeah, I guess there you go, Death Stranding. But it wasn't the one that won the most rewards.
Yeah, Disco Elysium.
Yeah, Disco Elysium actually won the most. It won best indie game, best RPG, and best narrative. So that's good for them. It seemed like the devs who made this game were really happy to win all these things. Like, they got a little emotional and things like that, which is always nice to see. You don't really see that too much with the AAA people because they'll thank you for the award. But when an indie person wins it, it really does mean a lot. I know people always discount the Game Awards, and it could be kind of hard to like see it as a serious thing, but for some people it really is. So it's really nice that they were able to pick up so many awards and stuff like that because it probably means a lot to them. So yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely very cool. Best fighting game went to Smash Brothers, which low key I was kind of not expecting that, but I was like, I don't know any other game on this category, so hopefully Smash wins.
I mean, I was either thinking Mortal Kombat or Smash, and Smash won it. So I mean, I was probably gonna win because it's like, I know some people say Smash isn't a fighting game, but it's like, I mean, what else is it? Like, I know it's like, it could be many things. So I think it deserves the best fighting game at least.
Yeah. Then the other categories. I mean, League of Legends winning best esports game and event was kind of surprising to me. Despite me playing the game a lot, I was kind of just like,
Yeah, we got some heavy Riot bias. Like I'm not saying bias, but like Shocks won esports host, and then esports game and event went to League of Legends. Plus, there was 2 league announcements in this Game Awards that we'll cover later. I'm like, damn, Riot, like going hard. So yeah.
But I think everything else was kind of fair game.
Yeah, everything else was fine. I mean, best ongoing game should have been Final Fantasy 14 and not Fortnite, but whatever. I'm not salty about that or anything.
Hey,
everything else is fine, though.
Fortnite's super popular, and
I know.
I honestly didn't realize it until like more recently because I work in like retail or whatever, and like parents just buy Fortnite stuff for their kids, and it's just everywhere. Fortnite shirts, the V-Bucks or whatever, the toys,
right.
etc., etc. I'm just like, Fortnite's super popular, and I'm just amazed and kind of glad that a game can be this popular these days.
No, yeah, I mean it's true. Like I'm not like I like Fortnite. It's just like I don't know. I felt like Final Fantasy 14 was better, but that's just my opinion. It doesn't really matter.
Of course. All right, so let's get into the announcements. So they hit us with a big one.
Yeah.
The Xbox Series X. So the next generation of Xbox is just going to be called Xbox, supposedly.
That's so stupid.
And the Series X part is just their way of being like, hey, this is like the first model of it, sort of thing. But anyways, Xbox Series X as a title is just really weird. Like, I don't know what Xbox is doing with their naming department. Like, they started off good with the original, just Xbox. And then they went to Xbox 360. All right. Then Xbox One. And then it's like, oh, okay. And now they're like, all right, now it's just Xbox again. And we're like, oh, all right, fine, whatever.
Yeah, like, it's so stupid. Like, I hate it. Like, what? Just keep, like, I don't understand what they're doing. Now it's just Xbox again. Like, I don't get it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, basically it's everything we kind of already knew. Like, faster Xbox. I mean, the thing looks like a PC tower. Like, it's like a PC, but for, like, console play. It's going to get a new controller. It's going to have advanced D-pad from the Elite controller, which I never actually played with the Elite controller. My brother has one, but I don't know. I guess they're cool. They cost a lot of money, though. But yeah, apparently accessories are also going to be backwards compatible with the Series X. I don't know if the games are going to be backwards compatible.
I think they're aiming for that or something like that. At the bottom of this article, they're trying to make it so you could play generations of Xbox games. I'm not sure if it's going to be direct backwards compatibility with like the disc and stuff, but maybe with like Xbox Game Pass and like the digital market, this and that. But yeah, I mean, if you spent like a day on Twitter after this thing was announced, you saw memes of like fridges and other things like that. Like, you know, the new generation of Xbox, like obviously Microsoft is the first one to announce everything, but then again, this gives Sony a chance to, you know, take a step back and think about how they want to announce stuff. Like this is exactly what happened during E3 2013 when Xbox was like, yo, no used games, you have to be online, this and that. And then that like spokesperson was like, if you want to play Xbox but offline, we have that. It's called Xbox 360. And then I think he got fired or something like that. But anyways, and then, you know, PlayStation went on and then they were like, used games, you know, you don't have to be online, this and that. So hopefully Sony's able to, you know, snap back. Obviously, like, I don't care, you know, if Sony wins or not, because obviously, like, I was PS4 for most of this generation, but that's just because Xbox kind of just shot themselves in the foot, and also Xbox doesn't have as many games. Yeah, it's like a entirely different discussion. But depending on which console is better in terms of like actual games, hardware, etc., that's the one I'm gonna go for. Because like I was an Xbox 360 kid back then. It's just that, you know, things have changed, this and that. But Xbox One or Xbox Series X, whatever the hell, capable of 120 frames per second along with 8K resolution. Realistically, what I'm thinking is that most games are going to be 60 FPS and 4K. Yeah. But, you know, 4K is still, like, relatively new.
Yeah, I was going to say 4K is already pretty new. Like, 8K is just kind of overkill. Like, we don't, like, who cares? And I think 4K would be a good to aim for. And just having 60 FPS for every game is, like, that should just be the bare minimum at this point, you know, for newer games. So, yeah, I think these are good, like, standards that they want to abide by. But, again, the problem with the Xbox, like, I guess, Xbox Series X, or whatever you want to call it, is just that I don't really see any, like, need to get it because, you know, they're really friendly with, you know, PC people now. Like, you know, if I just get, like, I need to upgrade my computer, obviously. But if I could just get, like, these same specs and, like, you know, I could play PC stuff and Xbox stuff, I still see no reason to get an Xbox ever. Since, you know, you could just play a lot of things with the Xbox store on PC, you know? I just see no reason to really get an Xbox if you have a PC, you know what I mean? Unless you just don't want to, like, spring for, like, a expensive computer or anything like that. But, yeah, but as a PC player and, like, you know, I play all the consoles, basically. But I felt no need to get an Xbox One this generation just because Microsoft was, one, they didn't really have many games, and two, you could just play them on PC anyway. So, like, again, if they're going to do that next generation as well, I see no reason to really get this thing, you know?
Yeah. And, like, with most people, even, like, kids and even, like, adults like ourselves, adults, quote-unquote. Yeah. You know, it's just a matter of what your friends have. Yeah. So I think people that are going to be like, yeah, we'll just stay loyal to, you know, PS5 or, you know, we'll still be on Xbox or whatever. You know, like, they're going to do what they want to do. And, you know, both consoles are definitely going to thrive in that way just because of that's how people want to do their gaming. You know, just buy a box and then just set it up, whatever. But, you know, Xbox Series X, I'm interested to see if they're actually going to bump up the exclusives or not because, like you said, they are extremely friendly with PC. So, yeah, you know, that's just another thing to not necessarily, you know, worry about, especially if you have, you know, a PC console Switch setup, which I think most people have. But I digress.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, if you have a PC, a PS, like any PlayStation or any Nintendo console, you're basically fine. Like, you can play whatever at that point. So, yeah, again, don't really see much point as a PC player to really get this thing, but, you know, it's good for everyone else. So, yeah. So, next we have the game announcements, which can, like, you know, there were a bunch of weird announcements because a lot of them just didn't show much. Like, most of them were just CG trailers or just concept things. Because, you know, we're very early into this next gen, so we don't really know what to expect. So, this was kind of our first glimpse to see what's coming up. And the first game to really do that was, I think this is the first PS5 game to ever be announced, right?
I believe so. Yeah. Officially announced.
So this is Godfall. It's made by, not Gearbox. It's published by Gearbox, but it's made by someone else. And it's advertised as a looter slasher, which personally I'm all for. You know, like, I love looter games. And, you know, a lot of looter games are, like, gun-based, you know, like Destiny, Borderlands, things like that. So having maybe, like, a third-person, like, sort of action game with swords and crap be, like, a looter, I'm down with that if it's good. And, yeah, it's advertised as a PS5 game, and you get it on the Epic Games Store. Oh, boy. So, yeah, you could you could do that. And, again, it was just a CG trailer, so there's not much to really go off on based on what they told us. But yeah, I think it looks pretty cool. But again, we don't really know yet. So
Yeah, I mean, a looter slasher, that's just, a branch off from the looter genre, which is pretty cool.
yeah,
So a looter slasher, that is definitely going to be very interesting to see how that plays out, because I think that's up more my alley, because I do like hack and slash games a lot more than shooters. But
right.
moving on, we got No More Heroes 3. So when the trailer initially started, I was like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, yeah.
But and then it eventually transitioned into, Travis Touchdown and all that stuff. And I was like, oh, okay, now I'm on board. No More Heroes 3. And it's supposed to, still be slated for 2020 exclusively on the Switch.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely going to be very, very cool to see what the game looks like when it finally, when we finally get more info, pretty much.
Yeah, I'm hoping by either some direct or E3 we finally see some gameplay for it, because I still haven't played the original No More Heroes. Like, we had No More Heroes 1 and 2. I just never played it. I hope they do like a re-release on Switch. I would love to see that, maybe in a direct one day, because I would like to play the No More Heroes 1 and 2 before 3 comes out. But from what they showed, it looks crazy, just like how I would expect from Suda51 and just like No More Heroes in general. So yeah, I'm excited for it. So yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So next we got this really weird trailer, if you want to even call it that. It's called Prologue. It's from the devs of PUBG. And yeah, it just showed like the woods, I think, right? Was it like the woods? Let me check it. It was just like,
yeah.
It was like nothing.
It's just Player Unknown's next game, and they were like, hey, it's called Prologue. And I'm like, that's a really interesting name. But how is the game going to be played? It's just a new game that they're making, and we don't know anything about it. It's probably not going to be in the Battle Royale genre, but it could be anything, really. So
yeah, this didn't tell us anything. I highly doubt it's a Battle Royale. Like, I mean, I don't really see why they would make one at this point, but
it seems really dumb as to why they would make another one.
Yeah,
especially since they already have a pretty successful one, all things considered.
Yeah.
But moving on, we got 2 League of Legends announcements. So the first one they showed off was the Ruin King, which is supposed to be a RPG.
Yep.
And the game is being developed by Airship Syndicate, which is a indie developer, I believe. No, wait. Yeah, they're pretty much a indie developer.
Yeah, I never heard of them. So yeah.
But yeah, they're Riot Forge was announced a couple weeks back, and now we're finally getting some trailers about which games that they are developing or letting go through as League of Legends games. So this is going to be pretty cool, especially to those that are really invested in the League of Legends lore, because they've been doing this for a while with like comics and like other things on the League website, this and that. So this is in development for console and PC. So my main question is price point and how will the game look and play out. So
yeah, since these are all made by different developers, Riot Forge is just the publisher, obviously, so these games could range in quality. So it kind of just depends on when you start showing gameplay. But yeah, it is very exciting to get like a turn-based RPG with like League of Legends characters and stuff like that. So that's really cool. And they also announced another one called Convergence. Is going to be an action platformer with like, I think, Echo as like the main character. So that could be cool. You could do a lot of cool weird time stuff with that. So yeah, I think that's also a very neat concept they're doing. Again, they didn't really show anything besides like just like, here's like an image and things like that. So I'm hoping we get to see gameplay soon. And I don't think there's no release dates either, right? It's not like 2020 or anything like that.
No,
I highly doubt it.
I think they just announced them. But
yeah.
I think with this one with Echo, I think it's going to be in like a 2D platformer action adventure sort of style, like like Guacamelee or like any of those other games that kind of look like that. So this is going to be very interesting to see how this one plays out, especially since I think me and you are both big platformer junkies. Yeah. So this is going to be very, very fun to see this one especially.
Yeah, they got both of my genres, platformer and RPG over there, so I'm happy with that.
Okay, so next announcement was Ori and Will of the Wisp.
Yeah.
There was some gameplay actually shown off, and this is supposed to launch on March 11th, 2020.
Yeah, my birthday, and it's like, I mean that's kind of a horrible date because this thing is squished between like Final Fantasy and like some other, like everything is coming out March, so that's a pretty horrible date, honestly. I hope it sells well just because there's so many big games during that month, but I mean, I'm excited for this game. Like, I've been excited for this game for like 2 years already. It's been like it feels like 4 E3s at this point. Like, I just wanted to come out. If you don't even know what Ori is, it's basically a Metroidvania, basically, but more emphasis on platforming. The main issue that I had with the original game was the combat was awful. Like, you just press X and like your little ball thing shoots like things at things. Like, it wasn't great. So the big emphasis it keeps showing in all these trailers is the combat. Like, they really like made sure to make it look a lot flashier and just like better. And it looks like they've been doing a great job on that. Same thing with the bosses. Like, they keep showing like big bosses and things like that. So that's also a big improvement from Ori 1, where there wasn't really any bosses. It was mostly like platforming challenges, which is fine, but I think the game definitely did needed a better combat system and some like better bosses. So I'm glad that this game is addressing those issues. And like the game just looks like gorgeous, and I can't wait for it. It looks really good. So yeah.
Yeah, the game definitely looks really, really good.
Yeah. So next we got Ghost of Tsushima. They showed this. They did like a weird like teaser thing at the end of the PlayStation State of Play. It's like, oh, stay tuned for the Game Awards, and this is the other half of that. So basically, we just saw the trailer for it, and it got a release date of summer of 2020. So again, another 20. I don't. This is the first time they showed it, right? Summer 2020. I don't think it had a release date. I believe
so. Yeah, like a release window sort of thing. Because
Yeah.
we didn't have any idea as to when this game was coming out. But yeah, I mean, the game, well, like this trailer looked like it was all in engine,
Yeah.
which the game looks pretty good, and it's kind of hard to tell exactly which or like what kind of gameplay style this is. It's probably gonna be like a Souls-like sort of thing.
Yeah.
Again, because that's just becoming super super popular, and I could see why after playing Star Wars. But yeah, I'm pretty excited for this game just because I'm a huge Sucker Punch fan, and the fact that it's set in like feudal Japan sort of thing is very interesting as well. So.
Yeah, no, the game definitely does look really interesting, and I've been interested in this game since they first shown it. Again, Sucker Punch and great developers and things like that. So I'm very excited to see how it does. So yeah.
Okay, then we got 2 more announcements. We got Gears Tactics, which is pretty much Gears of War. Yeah. Gears of War XCOM. But it's I believe like the second spin-off within like the Gears of War series. The first one was the one on Xbox 360 where it was like a prequel, and that one didn't do so well.
Yeah. No one liked that one, right?
I think it was Gears Judgment or something. Gears Judgment. Yeah, that game did not do so well. But Gears Tactics, it's obviously in a completely different genre, so I wonder how they're going to expand the Gears of War sort of like story with this game. But gameplay wise, it looks just like XCOM, a strategy game. So if you're not good on the, the third person sort of like shooting thing, now you could use that brain of yours and try to, get your way through that, I guess.
Yeah, again, I'm not the biggest Gears fan. I mean, I think I played like 1 and 2, but I wasn't too invested in it. But this game looks cool. I love the new XCOM games. 1 and 2 were fantastic. So if this game could be like that, then I'm okay with that. So yeah, no, it looks good. But I think it's probably gonna come on PC as well, because
it's advertising a 40-hour campaign.
Oh,
so
damn!
That is very interesting.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to come out April 28th, 2020.
Yeah. So again, 2020 is like just way too many things coming out. It's gonna be great. And next we got, this was a surprise to me. Wolf Among Us 2 got re-announced. Since they announced it before Telltale died, and now it's back, so that's fantastic. I played Wolf Among Us 1 like maybe like a year before they announced the second one. I'm like, this game is very good, and I can see why people want a sequel, because it ends in like a cliffhanger sort of. But yeah, now they're making a sequel, and then they didn't, and now they're making it again. So yeah, that's great.
Yeah, the pieces of Telltale are slowly being resurrected. But yeah, I mean, it sucks that the studio went under the way it did, but it is nice to go and see that this game especially get, re-announced, because I know a lot of people were greatly disappointed once again that this got canceled.
Yeah, so. It was pretty disheartening to see they were making it finally, and then they closed down. It's like, no. So yeah,
that definitely sucked. But all right, so now we're going to talk about our favorite games, or games we played this past year. So I forgot to mention it in the beginning of the show. But anyways, so I'll go first, and we're just going to jump back and forth and quickly talk about our games that we played this year.
Right.
So the first one is one that we both played, Life is Strange 2. The way I would describe this game, just very quickly and very briefly, because I could honestly talk about this game for a while, is that it's a game that is good, but it's also like kind of bad because there's some bad elements to it as a Life is Strange fan, because it is a sequel. You can't, dismiss the first game entirely. You kind of have to look at this game as a follow-up to it. And the follow-up to it, gameplay-wise, isn't all that great because the first game just had that rewind mechanic where you could see both choices. And also the story itself, because you're constantly moving to Mexico, you never really get a chance to fully embrace these characters and see how they actually interact with an everyday environment outside of episode 1. And on top of that, just like the characters of Shauna and Daniel, it was just hard for me to get invested into them compared to like Max and Chloe, where it was like this murder mystery sort of thing that was going on. But yeah, that's just my very brief sort of like review of it. It's a good bad game is how I would describe it.
Yeah, I basically agree with that. Like, just like bouncing off. I felt like Max and Chloe they just honestly have more development, and like they just grew better together than Sean and Daniel, which is weird because Sean and Daniel are brothers, and I feel like their relationship probably should have been a little tighter than it actually was. But I just felt like I cared more about Max and Chloe at the end of Life is Strange 1 than I did Sean and Daniel at the end of Life is Strange 2. Again, just the overarching plot with the whole like murder mystery type thing, and like just like the more emphasis on the powers and things like that, it just made the first game just way more interesting than the second game. So yeah, that's also my opinion. I mean, I'm pretty let down from Life is Strange 2, but I say hopefully if they do make a Life is Strange 3, it sticks more. Now, obviously they shouldn't just always make it like the same exact thing like Life is Strange 1, but they should probably aim for that style again, I guess. I don't know, it's kind of hard to say, but yeah, it was kind of disappointing for me as well.
Yeah, it's just, the fact that they wanted Daniel to have the power was a hindrance on gameplay. And the fact that when we were playing the game, there were like kind of big gaps between episodes. I honestly forgot who Sean and Daniel were going into episode 3, I think. Mm-hmm. And I was like, who the hell are these characters again?
Yeah.
Like, what is their name? But, like, it is what it is. Hopefully, Don't Nod, take some of the actual criticism that's being thrown at them and, take it for heart, because, if they just keep looking at the positives, they're not going to learn much from it. Like, this isn't a terrible game by any means. And I'm not going to downplay anyone that thinks that this game's great or even like their game of the year. It's just that for me personally, Life is Strange 1 was just a much more solid game, despite, performance not being up to snuff as to what Life is Strange 2 is. Just like gameplay and story wise, it just didn't meet the mark for me.
Yeah, same. All right, so I guess games that I have played. Well, I guess we're going back and forth here. So, and you could talk a little bit about this one too. Was DMC 5. So I played the whole series before DMC 5 even came out. I knew I kind of wanted to play it because it looked great. So all right, let me play the other ones. And DMC 1, it was getting there. It was like it was played more like a Resident Evil game, just with a little more action in it. DMC 2 was awful, but DMC 3 and 4 were both like fantastic. So I was like getting hype for 5, and 5 just perfected it. Honestly, like the combat is just so great. I feel like every character is really fun to play as. I love Nero's like different arms and stuff like that. I really liked his gameplay in DMC 4 as well. He's not as exciting as someone like Dante, obviously, but that's kind of hard to do. But I think they did a great job with his different like arms, like all have different abilities and crap like that. That was really fun. V was super fun to play as, where you kind of feel like a Pokemon trainer, where you could just like send out your little demon guys and they could like attack, and you just stand there watching them kill things for you. I mean, obviously, yeah, input stuff, but it was a very interesting style gameplay that I didn't think would work too well, but I think it works pretty well, and I had a lot of fun playing as V. And obviously, Dante is just amazing to play as. Like all his weapons feel fantastic in this game. You could do some really crazy stuff, and like. By the end of the game, you're just like unstoppable as Dante. Like you just feel so overpowered due to some things you get later in the game that it just feels fantastic. Graphically, the game looks fantastic, and yeah, overall, I think the game is just one of the best, like sort of those like action games I've ever played. I don't know what you even call those, character action games, spectacle game, whatever you call them. Like Bayonetta 2 was up there for a while, but yeah, I think DMC 5 kind of takes that cake right now, at least for me. So yeah, it's fantastic. Hopefully we get more DMC games. But yeah, I guess we'll see on that. Do you have anything to say on DMC 5? I know you didn't beat it, I don't think, but
yeah. And story wise, I just like don't even try to.
Oh yeah,
follow
no,
it,
it's crazy. Like I mean, I think it's crazy in a good way, but yeah, it's pretty insanity. So.
But yeah, most of the time when I'm playing this game, I'm like listening to a podcast or something like that, and I'm just enjoying the gameplay for what it is, and it is really, really good. And switching between the 3 characters was super fun. And yeah, it's just a really solid, hack and slash sort of beat 'em up game, and I really enjoyed what I played so far, and hopefully I'll be able to finish it before the year closes out.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next game I want to talk about is Days Gone. So this is a game that no one really expected to, be good because it just didn't have any hype going into it. And I was just like, you know what? Maybe this game is good. So I bought it at full price, $60,
Oof.
boom. And I was like, all right, let's see how good this game is. And my intention was to play the game, finish it, make a video on it. Bro, the game's like over 30 hours long. So I was like, nope,
Damn.
fuck that. Because the game is just so goddamn boring. Like, that is the major flaw with this game, is that the beginning is just so boring. It's just hard for you to, like, get really into it. And I feel like over 50% of the people that bought this game probably didn't finish it. Like, my coworker, like, me and him bought it, and we were like, yeah, it's, like, kind of fun, it's getting there. And then, like, a couple weeks later, I was like, bro, did you, like, finish Days Gone? He's like, hell no. Because, like, that game is just so boring, and, like, the characters, like, the story was just super hard for me to get invested into, because you're just thrown into, the post-apocalyptic world. And you kind of have to, like, figure out as to how this version of, the zombie apocalypse works. Like, for example, with, like, The Walking Dead, you see, when, or, like, the show, for example.
Right.
You see when Rick was a cop, and then he wakes up from the coma, and then it's like, oh, shit, we're in this post-apocalyptic world. So now you're invested in Rick's character, because you saw from when he was before everything happened to afterwards. Same thing for The Last of Us. You saw before everything happened to where we are now. In this game, you're kind of just thrown into it, and it's really, really hard for me to, like, be like, all right, I care about whatever the hell this character's name. I don't even remember what the main character's name is. But like I said, gameplay wise, it's just, kind of like generic. Like, this is like the first ever open world sort of like zombie game that I played, and I think it's the first ever like big one also, like a open world post-apocalyptic world game.
Yeah.
And I was kind of looking forward to it, kind of. So, like, it's not disappointing because there were no real expectations set, but yeah, like, what people say about Days Gone is kind of true, because the game is really boring in my opinion, obviously. And it just didn't really do much for me trying to, get me invested into the game itself. And the fact that it's goddamn 30 hours long, that is pretty long. So, but yeah, that's my little rant about Days Gone.
Yeah, I was never sold on that game. Like, I saw that game, I'm just like, man, every time they show this game, I just, like, don't care, like, at all.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they kept trying to sell it, and I was just, All right, but I guess I could be more positive, because I'm going to talk about a game that was almost in my game of the year, which is Fire Emblem Three Houses. I love Three Houses. I think this is a huge step up from Fates. My introduction to the series, like I think many other people nowadays, is Awakening. My first Fire Emblem game was Awakening, and I really liked that game. It really sold me on like strategy RPGs, and that was when I was really starting to get more into RPGs at that time anyway. So I was really into it, and I was very excited when Fates came out. And then I played it. I'm like, man, this is really weird. This is not really doing it for me. I think the gameplay wise, it was still great, obviously, because honestly, I think the gameplay might have been better than this game in some points. But yeah, overall, it was just like, it was very meh in terms of storytelling and things like that. It just wasn't doing it for me. But Three Houses comes out, and it really fixes that. I think a lot of characters are a lot more likable than they were in Fates, depending on what house you are. I mean, I've done like 1.5 houses so far. I did the Golden Deers with my first one, and I felt like all the characters were really likable. Some of them could be kind of one-dimensional. Some of them are like, I just like to eat or whatever. But I think it does feel better when they do like the whole support conversations. Like, you really do learn more about them. It's just sort of during the main story, their one-dimensional personalities come out. But once you really get into their support conversations, they all have, like, genuine backstories and things like that. There's not really many joke support, at least in the ones I've done. Like, not too many, like, jokey support conversations. Obviously, there's some, but, they really go into these different characters and things like that, which was nice to see. They take it take it more seriously and stuff like that. And, gameplay wise, it's Fire Emblem. It's like the same as it was Fourth Awakening on all the other ones, and just it was great. Like it's hard to explain the gameplay of Fire Emblem when you're kind of right. Everyone knows the gameplay of Fire Emblem. The only complaint I had with the game was that it was very easy. I played it on hard, and it still felt like I was steamrolling everything. Which is weird because the other Fire Emblem games are, they're known to be kind of hard, but this game was honestly pretty easy. And I didn't even grind it or anything. It was just kind of like that. So, besides that, and I guess graphically the game doesn't look great either. Like, it's pretty, the character models or whatever, but the backgrounds could be a little muddy and stuff like that. Like the textures aren't that great. But overall, I think the gameplay and the story and just the overall length of the game, like you get like 4 different like full stories basically with a bunch of different characters and things like that, and they all feel really different all in one game. Like Fates did that with 3 separate games and they weren't good. Fates, Three Houses does that in one game and it gives you like 4 like different stories to go through. So yeah, the game just has so much content. Like I haven't even scratched the surface, and I beat the game once. I'm like halfway through another like campaign right now. So yeah, the value of this game is insane. I think the story is really good. The characters are way better than, even in Awakening, I think the characters are better than Awakening. And yeah, just overall, it's just a fantastic return to form for the series, and I can't wait to see what to do with the future games, because this was a great like stepping stone into the Switch. So yeah, I'm excited to see what happens next.
Yeah, hopefully I'll be able to jump back into Three Houses.
Yeah, it's long.
Surprisingly, surprisingly, when I did my Switch in review or whatever, it was my most played game of the year, and I was like, but I beat Yoshi's Crafted World, so I'll talk about that now. That was a pretty sick transition.
Oh, yeah.
Yoshi's Crafted World. So this is a game that went pretty much below everyone's radar, especially if you're talking about, year-end sort of, videos where it's like, all right, which game, did you most enjoy this year? I'm pretty sure no one's going to put Yoshi's Crafted World in, like, their top 3. Like, most people aren't. But if you do, the game is still, like, pretty good and really, really solid as, like, a Yoshi platformer. And I really did enjoy my time with it because, the whole, like, going into the foreground and background and all of this other stuff was pretty cool. But I feel like it was a little underutilized, especially with the whole mechanic of you going backwards in the levels and like stuff like that. Like that was just more of like extra things, and it just didn't really do much for me personally. But I do still think that Woolly World is a much better game, but still Crafted World is, a solid Yoshi platformer for the Switch. And if you want just a pretty good platformer on your Switch, you can't go wrong with this game, honestly, because it is pretty good. Despite my complaints, it's not as good as its predecessor. It's just like with Life is Strange 2, but Crafted World is still a really, really good and fun platformer.
That's good. Yeah, I mean, I was kind of interested in it, and I heard some people say it was just fine. I'm like, I said I'll wait for a sale, but, Nintendo games don't do that, so.
First party Nintendo XD.
Oh, boy. All right, so now this is my actual game of the year. I don't know if we're really doing that, but I'm going to say it anyway. It is my game of the year. So this is Final Fantasy XIV Shadowbringers. I know it's kind of cheating because it's not even really a new game. It's just an expansion, but it's just very, very good. Just the plot, like, basically you bought this expansion and just feels like you gained a whole RPG. It took me like 60 hours to really like do the whole main story. So you're just buying an RPG at that point, plus the MMO stuff at the end, which is kind of how Final Fantasy XIV always been. That obviously the dungeon design, boss designs, and stuff like that are amazingly well done. I think for that MMO cooperative play. But it also like takes its story and characters and stuff really seriously, where it feels like you are just playing an RPG as well. And it just nails it the most in this expansion. Like the story was just fantastic, the music was great. A lot of the plot points from previous expansions really like ties into this one and really ends it in a great way, while still leaving enough for future patches and stuff like that to explain further the story more. So yeah, it's just great. I love the 2 new classes are really cool. Like Gunbreaker is really fun, and Dancer was a lot of fun as well. Even though I'm not. That probably should have been a healer, but it's a DPS for some reason. But whatever, it's better for me because I like DPS. But yeah, overall, I think like Shadowbringers is just great. I can't really talk about it without going into spoilers, but if you're a fan of Final Fantasy 14, then you probably already played it, and you probably agree with me that it is the best expansion so far. And if you're new to the game, I think they're gonna redo the whole first bit of the game since it's kind of really slow and it's turning off a lot of people from the game. But after that patch happens, I feel like a lot of people should at least give 14 a try because Shadowbringers is just fantastic. It's probably the best RPG I played this year. And Fire Emblem was close to beating it, but no, I think Shadowbringers still beats it out. So yeah, it's just fantastic. I love it. Can't really go into much of it without spoilers. And gameplay wise, it's Final Fantasy. It's an MMO basically. So yeah, it's great. I love it. So yeah.
Okay, so I'll try to be positive on this next one. Link's Awakening on the Switch. So this was a game that I was keeping my eyes on constantly. In directs, E3 presentations, etc. Just because I love cutesy art styles in video games, and also it's a remake of a 2D Zelda game, and I love 2D Zelda, so I was like, all right, this is definitely up my alley. So it came out, played a little bit of it. I think I'm like maybe 1/4 of the way through, maybe a little more. I'm not entirely sure, but I didn't get the chance to finish it. But from what I did play of it, it's pretty fun. It's just just like Link's Awakening, but on the Switch in HD with a new button layout, because now we have more buttons on the Switch compared to the Game Boy, so that's good. Makes it more 2019 friendly, as I say it. But yeah, overall, like, it's a pretty fun and solid Zelda game. Now it's $60, however. That's like the main thing that I really hate about this game, is that it retails at $60.
Right.
And for a remake, that's a little hard to sell. But I'm pretty sure the game still sold well because it is Nintendo we're talking about here. But in my opinion, I think $40, maybe even $50, like that would have been the max for me. But I still bought it, obviously. But I think that if you're gonna do like a remake sort of thing, Nintendo should try to cut the price down, especially for Link's Awakening, because this game is kind of old and it's been re-released on like the Virtual Console and stuff like that many times. So yeah.
Yeah, I also feel that the price point is just way too much. Like, I love Link's Awakening. It's a really great Zelda game, but I feel like $60 remake for like a Game Boy game is kind of steep. So yeah, I feel like that's his major downfall.
Definitely.
But yeah, next we got another Nintendo game, Mario Maker 2. I never played Mario Maker 1 actually, which I kind of regret. So I'm happy they made a sequel. Because I think it came out pretty late in the Wii U life cycle. It was like 2015, I think Mario Maker 1 came out. And that was the point where I was like, I didn't really care about the Wii U anymore. So yeah, Mario Maker 2 is a great way to experience this if you didn't. Because I know Mario Maker 1 was just such a phenomenon when it came out. Like, oh, you're able to make your own Mario levels. Like, that's just like such a cool concept. So now making that in a system that's... I know it was on the 3DS as well, but it wasn't that great. So having that on a portable system... and be like, and also in a popular system, just like, that's great because now more people are able to experience it, plus make more levels and things like that. So that's great. And for me personally, I also like, I love it. I love these buildy games. I loved Little Big Planet when that came out, and this kind of fills me with that same joy that game did. That added story mode was a really nice touch. When the game first came out, there wasn't too many levels out just yet because, the game just came out. So having that story mode to really help give some initial play time was great. It really showcased a lot of the cool things you could do with different mechanics and things like that in the creative mode. And obviously you just got good levels. You got like 100 good levels by Nintendo themselves. So that was a great addition that didn't really have to be there, but it's great that it is. The building itself feels pretty good. It probably feels better with a Wii U gamepad, honestly. That's probably the only thing that thing was good for, was like, I guess, making your own levels in Mario Maker 2. But I think it worked really well with the controller. Like, it takes some time getting used to, and the tutorials kind of help you out. But after a while, I was able to make some pretty, well, not good levels, but I was able to make some levels, and it felt pretty good. So yeah, overall, Mario Maker 2 is fantastic. They just added a new update where you can play as Link and stuff like that. That's awesome. I really hope they add more gameplay styles, like Mario, what do you call it? Super Mario Brothers 2, where you could pick, like, plant stuff up and throw them and stuff. That would be cool to see a gameplay style like that. But yeah, Mario Maker 2 is fantastic. I'm glad it's on the Switch, and it's great. I love it.
Okay, so next game I got here is the Man of Medan. I honestly kind of forgot that this game was going to come out.
Me too.
And then our friend Louis was like, oh, yeah, this game's going to come out. And I was like, all right, I guess I'll buy it and see what all the fuss is about. So this is from the people that made Until Dawn, and it was pretty much like their, new anthology series.
Yeah.
So the way that we played it was like the movie night mode, where like every single person in your party, I guess, gets to control a character.
Right.
So we did that, and it didn't work all that well. So first up, when you're waiting for other people to for your turn to play, it's like unpredictable as to when you're gonna play and how much time you're gonna be able to play. So most of the time when we were playing, we were like, all right, let's just like try to speedrun this and just fucking get this shit over with, because like the story itself was also like kind of generic and really boring.
Yeah.
And they can't make it like a pretty long adventure like Until Dawn, because that would have been really, really bad if they did do that. But yeah, I mean, it just didn't hit the marks that I think it wanted to. The story not being all that great, the movie night mode just not being that good either. I think the other mode was better from what I heard, but even then, I'm just not motivated to pop the game back in anyways. But hopefully they have, I believe, 2 more games in this anthology series to try to clean it up and make it better. But yeah, the Man of Medan did not have a good start to the anthology series.
Oof. Yeah, that's sad to hear that, because I know Until Dawn was pretty popular. All right, so again, another Nintendo thing, Astral Chain. So this is from Platinum. This was like the new IP, and this game kind of like, it came out pretty quickly. They showed off E3. I'm like, that looks really cool, and I'm like, oh, it's made by Platinum. That's even better. And it came out like a year later or something, and then, or not even a year later. I think it was like a few months later. But yeah, the game came out and it's very good. This kind of is a trend with Platinum now, where they're really mixing different styles to their gameplay. I kind of started with Nier, where obviously that game was more action RPG than just like that standard action Platinum was used to. This feels more like a mix of Bayonetta and Nier, where there's a lot of RPG elements in the game, but the combat stuff definitely feels more like Bayonetta, where there's a lot more cool things you could do than Nier. It also does have a more heavy emphasis on story, like Nier did, even though I don't think it's as good as Nier at all. But it's still it was still like it was very generic anime stuff, but it was fun to go through. Gameplay wise, it was fantastic. I think the whole Astral Chain mechanic was like really cool. With your little, I forgot what I call them. Legion. Yeah, you have a little Legion dude who like follows you around as well. And I thought it would be, it's kind of like V, right? It's like V on crack, like in DMC, where you're able to really control your Legion and like fight as one. And it feels so good when you pull off really cool things like that. It's just a lot of fun. So yeah, I think Platinum really like did a good job with this. Obviously the game could use some improvements in some areas, like story and stuff like that, but I know they said they want to make this a trilogy, and I think Astral Chain sold really well. So yeah, it's probably a no-brainer. They're going to make a sequel. And just like Bayonetta 1 to 2, I'm sure Astral Chain 2 would just blow 1 out of the water. And I really think Astral Chain 1 is great. So yeah, I'm excited to see the future for this series as well. Also, graphically, the game looks great for a Switch game, by the way. Like, I barely notice any like dips in frame rate a lot of the time, which is fantastic for like a Switch game, and it looks as good as it does. Like, it's kind of impressive how they were able to do this. So yeah, if you're a fan of like Platinum games or just like those action games in general, then I think Astral Chain is a great addition to that as well.
Okay. So the next game I got here, very quickly, Tetris 99.
Oh yeah,
that game did come out this year, and it is free to play. And this one was a game that I did not expect to like as much as I did, just because I love Tetris, but like a battle royale sort of like Tetris game that seems kind of weird and quirky, and I was like, all right, let's see how this Tetris sort of spin-off game works. And it's pretty good. Obviously, if you're like super good at Tetris, you're gonna like consistently like win. But me personally, I'm like okay at it. I just enjoy playing it and stuff like that. But it is a battle royale sort of thing, so you just got to be the last one alive against all of these insane players. But yeah, it's just competitive Tetris, so
yeah,
can't really go wrong with that.
I'm horrible with it, but yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to talk about Shovel Knight again because I didn't get to talk about it because my dog was like bothering me. All right, so I'm going to talk about it again because I didn't really get to do a good job talking about it. So King of Cards is very good. Like I was saying before, there's just so many different levels in this game, and like every level just has like a new mechanic and stuff like that fits with the theme of that world. So I never felt like I was doing the same level twice. Like it was very impressive how they were able to do so many different mechanics in this game, Arari. And again, it shows that Yacht Club, really pushing the limit, like I said, with this engine, Arari. So I'm kind of happy they're moving on, but it's also sad because I think that they did a fantastic job with all the campaigns of Shovel Knight, and this felt like a nice conclusion to that, like to this like series, I guess. And yeah, just overall, I feel like just the gameplay of King Knight was just a lot of fun. It had a lot of mobility. It was just great. His different like relics and powers and things like that were like super fun to use. They felt more situational than Shovel Knight or any of the other knights, but I felt like they were just fun. Like they were more goofy and fun, but yeah, definitely felt more situational. And yeah, again, just felt like a great conclusion to this series, and I can't wait to see what they do next. So yeah, if you haven't picked up Shovel Knight at this point, you really should. I would say it's like probably my top 3 indie games, up with like Isaac and Gungeon and things like that. Maybe top 5. Celeste is somewhere up there too. So yeah, if you're a fan of platformers, then definitely pick this up. I know the giant treasure trove, which comes with everything increased in price, is like $40 now. But honestly, it's worth the price. Like you get like 4 amazing games, plus you get like that Smash Brothers mode, which is in there now. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. I love it. So yeah.
Okay, so the last game I'm going to talk about is The Walking Dead, the final season. Mm-hmm. So when this game was, still coming out, we had the whole Telltale Games thing shut down last year, and I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
Is this going to finish out? Because despite what you will say about the last season, A New Frontier, this was the final season, and many people wanted to see Clementine's story end on a somewhat, of a decent conclusion. And I was in that same camp, and I was like, God damn it, we're not going to get this conclusion. And then Skybound Games picked up the pieces and was like, all right, we're going to, finish the last 2 episodes. And they brought back most of the crew from the, Telltale Games studio to finish this game out. And overall, this is a pretty decent conclusion to Clementine's story. I wish things went a little bit differently at the end, but I can't really do much about that because those are the endings that they wanted to give us. It is what it is. But overall, it is still the Walking Dead Telltale thing, and it still works. But I'm glad it ended because I think a lot of people are getting really tired of the Telltale IP, or not the Telltale IP, the Walking Dead IP.
Right.
Because it's just been around for so long, and the whole zombie craze is kind of just like old and over and done with sort of thing. So I'm glad that they, decided to end Clementine's story with this final season and making it very clear by naming it the final season, or whatever. So we're not happy with it, but I'm just glad that it's over. Sort of thing.
It's good to have the conclusion than it just dying. So
yeah.
All right, so I also have one more thing here. I got Monster Hunter World Iceborne. Again, not too much to say about this, as I already talked about Monster Hunter World like ad nauseum, Rari. But again, Iceborne is a great expansion. Adds a bunch of new monsters. It gets very hard. And I already thought Monster Hunter World is a little bit on the easier side compared to the older Monster Hunter games because it's a lot more forgiving. Since the game wants to appeal more to newcomers, which is great. But yeah, Iceborne really does like kick you in the balls. It's hard. like I hit like one of my first walls in a while because the monsters are just so much more aggressive in this game than they were in the base game, which is great. I think the game should get harder at this point. But yeah, I love the new environment, the new snowy environments and things like that. From what I heard, the end game is a lot better than the original Monster Hunter World, since you have like this whole other end game area instead of just going back to older missions and doing like more grinding and things like that. It actually feels like like a newer thing you're doing. So yeah, Iceborne is a fantastic expansion, and I'm glad Capcom in general has just been doing great. With Monster Hunter World and now Iceborne, DMC5, the Resident Evil remakes, it just seems that Capcom is really back at it again, which is great because they have a lot of great IPs. Also, the Mega Man 11 came out this year? No, that was last year, right?
I think it was last year.
Okay, because I'm like, that was a good game. I know that actually came out this... No, that came out last year.
Yeah, it came out last
Okay, right, talking about it. Okay, so yeah, there was a lot more games I wanted to play. I still haven't gone to play Outer Worlds, or I know I really want to play Jedi Fallen Order as well. Borderlands 3 is another game I really want to play, but not enough time or money to do any of these things. And next year's next year it ain't gonna get any easier. There's like a billion things coming out, and like there's just not enough time to do anything. So. But yeah, I'm very excited for next year in terms of games. There's still a lot of great games. Again, I haven't played this year. And yeah, I mean, overall, I thought it was a pretty good year, honestly, games-wise.
Yeah.
Maybe a lot, obviously weaker than 2017. But I think it was stronger than 2018, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think that I wasn't paying attention all that much when it came to like game releases because I was focused on my thing. But, there were definitely a lot of like really good games, especially in this later half of the year that came out and really surprised a lot of people, like Outer Worlds, Star Wars, and next year 2020, like you said, we're not stopping.
Yeah,
we are not stopping with the new generation and new generation on the horizon at the end of next year, along with all of these other games coming out in between 2020, which we will talk about more extensively in terms of what we're super excited for and stuff like that. But overall, I think 2019 wasn't that bad of a year for gaming overall as well. So
yeah, so that's it. That's the last one for 2019.
Yeah, that's all we got for 2019, and we will see you guys in 2020 with a new episode.
Yeah, so we see you guys later.
Peace.
Bye.